Chapter 3, A Sharp Right Turn on the National Road, Part 7. Stephen was saying that the beings had skinny ankles and that they were really skinny. And at that moment, he didn't feel threatened. And he was also describing their arms as really skinny with no biceps. And he was really scared to look at the being. He didn't want the being to think that he was being aggressive. He also said that the shoulders were really square and they were really small and skinny. The beings had a neck, but it was small and skinny. Their chins were really pointy and they didn't have any ears, and they had a slit for a mouth. And the beings did not change expression. So one of the beings was digging in the ground and he was using some type of tool, and it was not easy for the being. And there was another one that was watching him dig the ground. And all the beings look alike. They were small and whitish and not real coordinated. They were kind of like fumbling things. So at the office, the investigators got a sense that even though Stephen was in a deep trance state, he was resisting moving ahead with his narrative. Like he seemed to deliberately avoid trying to remember anything else as to what happened next. And they signaled Dr. Clamar about this, and she began to bring Stephen out of the hypnotic state. So Budd Hopkins began analyzing all the events one by one, and during the second hypnosis, more new events came out. Stephen was able to remember new events, but there was something missing. The event when the white creatures approached Stephen, and what happened next is unknown. It goes from the white creatures approaching Stephen to the white creature digging the ground, but it is not known what happened between those two events. But Hawkins believed that something happened between when the creatures approached Stephen to the moment when they were digging the ground. Something happened in the middle, but they don't know what. So, Budd Hopkins also he also retells that Stephen sees two lights in the sky when he was driving, and he hunched over and looked at the sky and saw them, and he was thinking that it was just a reflection in the windshield. But then he turned on the light and he saw that the lights were still in the sky. So in reality, there were UFOs. So a few days after the hypnotic session, Budd Hopkins called Steven on the phone to ask him how he was doing. And he told Steven that during the hypnotic session, he was reluctant to try to remember more. And Steven said, yeah, that's true. I didn't want to remember more. Like he didn't want to go any further. He was afraid that worse things happened, so he was not ready to remember them yet. And during hypnosis, subjects usually remember only what they can handle at the moment. It's almost like their mind is trying to protect the individual by shutting down and not remember what happened. So Budd Hopkins noted that Steven's incident was similar to other abduction incidents, but there was a difference. Usually, the witness consciously remembers seeing a UFO and then experiences a period of lost time. And this is what alerts investigators to the possibility of an abduction. But Steven did not have this. All that he had was a vague feeling that something happened that he could not remember one particular night on a stretch of highway. So Steven did not remember the UFO. And Budd Hopkins was disturbed because he was thinking, so how many abduction experiences have been buried and nobody knows about? Because in this one they erased pretty much everything, and all there was to go with was just like a vague feeling that Steven had. He had no memories, just a feeling. And Budd Hopkins was saying that this could be happening tens of thousands of times, and no one would even know. So that's pretty shocking that there could be thousands of abductions and nobody knew what was happening.